So the question is, how big is the gap between an average developer and a great agile developer? I think there's two parts to that, but the main part that I think is really important is I read a blog post years ago, and I was sitting reading it, and the first sentence it started with, so it was about this topic, right? What makes great developers, what's learning, all of these kind of things. And the first sentence was, if you're reading this, you're already in the top 10%, right? That was what it said at the first sentence. Because so few people are really engaged and care about the work that they do, that they're willing to go invest and investigate and figure out and solve and try stuff and fail and pick themselves up and try again, right? And this is true regardless of whether we're talking about our skills in with people, with process, right? So that those agile group of skills, or product management, or whatever it is, but it also in the technical, right, in the detail, in the weeds, in how you actually do the work that you do every day that is irrelevant to the system with which we're working. And I think that is the fundamental difference between somebody who is average at doing their work and somebody who is great at doing the work, is willingness to learn, willingness to adapt, willingness to try things, investing your own time in making yourself better, right? One of my favorite folk in the world, David Starr, who originally created the APS, Applying Professional Scrum class, back in the day, he had this thing that he always said. What's what do martial artists and musicians have in common? Right? What do martial artists and musicians have in common? And they're so different that people are usually like, well, I don't know. What do they have in common? They practice. Why don't we? When do we get to practice? When do we come off actually performing, right, at the concert, making the production code, and when do we get the time to practice? When do we get things to try different things, to try new things? That's actually, for me, I feel like one of the powers of training classes. Not maybe the way, not the PowerPoint training classes where you basically fall asleep and your brain dribbles out your ears watching a PowerPoint presentation. But what I try and do is bring in some of the ideas of flipped learning, right? So I provide you with, effectively, here's the content I'm going to teach you in day one, right? Go read it. If you read it, I don't need to tell you it. We can then talk about it and practice it in the live session where we are together, because everybody reads at a different pace, everybody learns at a different pace. Perhaps you could spend some time reading that content, and then we're gonna answer the questions. We're going to dive into the nuance. We're going to figure out how that works. We're going to do some exercises so that we can maybe practice some things. That's the value of all being together, not in, reading some content off a slide. So I think that learning, interest in learning, is what makes it really powerful. And I do have a customer that leverages this. And they actually provide their developers, everybody in their company, they provide everybody in their company with a budget of about €5,000 a year for training. And you spend it how you like. It's up to you what training classes you want to book, what you want to learn. Perhaps you just want to go do a NLP class because you aren't very good at that stuff and you want to understand it better. Perhaps you do some cognitive behavioral therapy classes because that's what you feel you're lacking. You can pretty much do anything you want with that budget. I'm sure they might frown if you wanted to go on a paper airplane making class, but the idea is that you as an individual know what you don't know, right? Kind of. You know what you don't understand, you know what you need to figure out, and the person best suited to direct the learning that you need is yourself. It also has the huge benefit that it's opt-in, right? It's self-service. So the worst type of learning is mandated, enforced learning. People generally don't pay attention, don't care as much, and don't participate. But if they pick it themselves, they're generally more eager, more engaged, and that's the difference between the average developer and the great Agile developer. Is engagement, is practice, is focus. That's what it is. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, follow, and subscribe. I always reply to comments, and if you want to have a chat about this or anything else Agile, Scrum, or DevOps, then please book a coffee with me through NKDAgility.